back. I'm obviously inside my apartment here in Seoul. The big thing that I'm doing here right now is because I was about to make a video at the City Wall Museum when my buddy called me and told me he was kind of close by and that he wanted to grab a bite and a couple drinks. So I kind of just immediately hoofed it over to where him and his family were. So I didn't get to do any of the talking parts of the vids. No A-roll, in other words. But I did walk over from Hyung Imjin Mun Gate over to the City Wall Museum. And what's funny is that I walked to the backside and tried to find the entrance, and I would say that it was kind of confusing. All the signs were pointing to this gate that was locked. And I'm like, are they closed? There's no sign, nothing. And so I kept walking around, and then I finally figured if I walked down from the top of the gate, which is pretty much where I was, and around to the front of the, or the backside, I guess is what it looked like to me, but it was actually the front side of the building, there was a door that let you in. So I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out how to get into the building, like an idiot. And anyhow, so I figure out how to get in. They do the temp check, and I have to give them my phone number and tell them where I'm, that I'm from Yongsan. And they write it all down, and I get to walk in the first 3 floors of the museum as they listed it to me. So the first 3 floors the first floor is a pretty good map of the entire fortress gate, and it's where it was and where it is. So it shows you everywhere where it used to be, as well as everywhere it still stands. And one of those things about it is that it's ginormous. I thought parts of like the gate were actually or like entrance, I don't even know what to call them, like the gate, the entrance and exit areas, if you were to call them that. It's a fortress wall, so I guess, yeah, the gate makes sense, right? So the gate to the wall, I thought all of them were like, some of them were kind of in weird spots, and that was purposeful, as it was kind of like a secondary type of gate to slow people down coming in or out of the city. So the main gate in front of Gyeongbokgung Palace, that's actually like kind of an entryway to get to the palace. That's the final defense, I guess you could say, before you'd actually have to defend from the castle walls or the palace walls. And so it does a really good job explaining of how like the territory and the natural landscape of the area helped create the wall. They literally used it to where they're like, okay, this mountain connects to that mountain, or this range connects to that range, so let's go ahead and build along those 2 mountain ranges to kind of build a natural defense into their fortress wall as well. That was really neat. They also had some interactive items there, meaning like you could go tap on like the screens and it'll actually tell you a little bit more about the gate or the wall or the forest or the mountain, and or a stream. The main stream, I actually walked down it, that goes from east to west across Seoul, was actually built in as a kind of security device for the wall. And this was all on that first floor. Now, the museum is tiny. I would say that if you spent an hour here, you probably got a lot out of it already. And if you spent more than an hour there, you're really into it. The second floor was tiny. There's archives, which I don't read Korean, so I didn't go into. And I think you needed an appointment anyways. And then on the other side of the second floor was this dinky little exhibit that I think rotates. It's not a permanent exhibit. And while I was there, it was about how one of the main gates was actually sold for pennies. And it was a gate that the Japanese despised. They actually didn't want it there because it slowed them down in their progress to get through Korea, which was pretty interesting. And during the Joseon dynasty, they actually just kind of try to tear it down. When they rebuilt it to bring it back later on, they actually had to change a little bit of the foundation so that during this time streetcars were going through Seoul, and the only way to get the gate to go, or the car to go under the gate, or through the gate rather, was to dig around the gate doors to make that part deeper so that part of the foundation was exposed, but then the car could actually get through. And that was kind of the main thing that they were talking about there. So with the follow-up of how the Japanese hated those gates, that because it would slow them down and they really wanted to destroy it. It was sold for pennies because of that exact reason, the Japanese hating it and wanting to destroy it, and no one really wanted to maintain it. And so that was the second floor. Again, it's just this quick walkthrough. And then the third floor had replicas of parts of the gate where, like, the oldest part of the gate that used to go over the river used to be. It's no longer there. It had like I think it was like a 5 archway bridge that went over the river. Again, I kind of blew through this top floor because while I was there, this is when my buddy called me and said, "Hey, let's get together." And so I was like, "Okay, cool." And I just kind of breezed through the third floor. The third floor is a permanent exhibit, so I mean, I might just go back. It's not going to take all that much time to actually get a view of the third floor. It does have some really great models of items that were like, or of pieces of the gate that were kind of influential to other things, like maybe how they built castles or palaces later on, the structure of the wall, how it was different stones were used at different times. It went back into that history, and I know that you've seen it in quite a few other videos. Like, I mean, obviously the Namsang Park wall video is going to have a little bit of that because they talk about that there. It's kind of neat to be able to tell what age the wall was built in just by looking at it and seeing the stones. So if they're uneven, it was like a late 1300s, early 1400s wall build. And as they got more even and like the most pristine looking, I think was the mid to late 1800s. That third floor, again, I blew through, but they went over little things like that, as well as what the wall was made out of, I believe. It was a real quick run through at that very final part. And so I'm kind of like bummed that I didn't get to see it, but I'm actually super excited that I was able to see my friend and his family. I've probably met a lot more of his family than most of his regular friends have, because it's either like his extended family comes too. Let's just put it that way. And so I get to meet them while I'm there. I wish I spoke a little bit more Korean. I could kind of understand what they're trying to say at certain times. You know, when they're asking me if something was delicious or if I liked something. I know those words, majisaso, or like chawa. And, you know, it's kind of funny because, like, they get a real kick out of me being able to answer that, like, appropriately for the most part. That's always fun. But anyhow, that is pretty much it for the Castle Wall Museum run, really, which is really what it was. I would say that if you're in that area, just doing 3 sites is just so easy. Going to the DDP, the Dongmun Design Plaza area, walking around there, then going to the Hyung Imjin Mun Gate, which, I mean, that's like a 15-minute thing. Like, if you spend more than that there, I kind of wonder what you're doing. The security people are probably going to be wondering what you're doing, too. Seeing how there's CCTV all over the place there. And then just going to the City Wall Museum. It's all within, I want to say, 700 meters of each other. So it's a real easy walk from one to the next, and you can't really go wrong. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and finish this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.